viewers, hello, challenge fans, and welcome back to another episode of Redditors React. Back again to ruin another episode. I'm your host, Brian Batty. Levi is still currently out running a special mission for TJ, so he asked me to come back and help him out once again. Believe me when I tell you this, you would all be quite miserable, and this recording could be used for future illegal torture tactics if I had to do it alone. So I Googled the most extreme physical activity in England, got my results, headed off to each of them, and there he was, ready to attempt the Rain Man in Malham Cove. It's George.
These are getting nicher and nicher. Speaking of thank you for having me, Brian. Always a pleasure having you host. Let's start with our normal thing though of just Levi, we really, really miss you. We can't wait to have you back. But actually, you kicked us off into quite a weird starting point. When you were traveling around the UK looking for random physical activities, did you come across the Gloucester cheese racing?
No, I have here. That was number 5 on the list. I did come across, on my traveling list, not this thing I Googled. No. I did almost see you at this canoe race. The Devizes to Westminster International Canoe Race. I almost saw you there, but I didn't see the cheese one.
You know, I've actually done that.
Of course you have. Of course you have.
The just for the listeners, especially the one in Nicaragua, the Gloucester cheese wheel race is where you get Brian, you're like what, 6'5"?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, on a good day.
So you get a wheel of cheese which is as tall as Brian in diameter. And when you go to a really, really steep hill, we're literally talking like between 15 and 20% gradient. And then you get 100 people to race down it while 10 of these big wheels of cheese are pushed after you. And you have to beat the cheese to the bottom. And it has broken bones every year. It has like multiple concussions. But this is what we do in the English countryside. So yeah, that's a little bit of an insight into the backwards country I'm technically from.
Yeah, it's no wonder you guys lost all those wars. I do have one story specifically to tell you, George. I was thinking about you yesterday. So I was Chicago here. We were blessed with a warm day, unseasonably warm day in the middle of November. It was fantastic. I had the day off. I went up to the park to go get some shots up, play some basketball. And I wasn't the only one who had this idea to go get some park time in the city of Chicago. And these 3 gentlemen walked up and they had all this equipment and they were like they were just like bros playing sports. Like they were just here to do sports with a Z. And and they started kicking around a ball. I wasn't really paying attention. I just noticed them and I was like, oh, maybe they'll want to play, and they didn't. So I was just still alone, had my music on. They were kicking around a ball and they kept losing it, and it kept trickling over onto the court. And it's like, okay, whatever, it's fine. It happens once, and if it happens again, it's like, okay. And it happened the 3rd time, and I'm just in my head, I'm like getting frustrated because like just move, just like this is a huge park, just go somewhere else. Anywho, the ball comes rolling over for the 4th time, and I'm like, at this point, I'm like pretty much ready to fight these guys. And it comes over, and I look down, and what is it? It is a rugby ball. I thought it was a football. It was a rugby ball, and I was like, George would hate this. So I picked it up. First time I ever held a rugby ball. So there you go. I'm officially a rugby player now. Big ball. Yeah. That's all I got. Just not really quite. And I threw it, and then that's it. But just not quite the shape I expected. I don't know. Why was I expecting a different shape?
I think ignorant? You're probably thinking it'd be more like an American football, right?
Correct.
Like smoother, whereas in fact it's basically a hexagon.
Yeah, it's like blocky.
Yeah, the reason it's like that is so that
it's like a square with nipples on the side, kind of.
Yeah, it's also what we nicknamed one of our players.
Nice.
It's like that literally. So, well, it's not the main reason, but it is the reason now. They keep that shape because wherever it bounces, you can't predict where it's going to go. And there's nothing better than watching like a 6'7", 18, 19, 20 stone man spin around like a confused child while he's trying to chase this ball. And then it does mean that you get blindsided a lot more, which is obviously funny for a spectator and less fun when it happens to you.
Right, I'm sure. Well, these three grown-ass man-child were confused as to where they should be playing with their rugby ball because it kept coming out of my court, and it was just like, dude, guys, like, let's figure it the fuck out. Figure it out.
Did you fight them?
No, didn't fight them. Just threw them the ball, and they just kind of, I think, realized like, okay, we're bothering this fucking guy, so let's just go do something else somewhere else. So
yeah.
Last time the rugby ball rolled onto my pitch, if you will.
That was all the right terms, Brian. Good work.
Nailed it. Speaking of terms, let's go and let's just talk about, let's skip the section on your massive poll and let's just move on to your Reddit poll this week. What did you have for us this week on your poll?
So
Reddit poll. The other poll, obviously, that's we're skipping that.
That's for the Not Safe for Work podcast.
Right. Which comes out next week, actually.
It's just 20 minutes of poorly planned dick jokes.
Redditors React After Dark.
Oh God, that's going to get us on some kind of list. Anywho, so the poll this week was which vet would have made this season better if they were the only additional cast member?
Ooh.
So off the top of your head, who do you think, before knowing the options, who would be your pick?
Jordan.
Didn't even put him on here. That was bad of me.
He makes every season he's on better.
I love Jordan. We have Bananas, Wes, Rogan, Cam, Laurel, and Cara.
Laurel would be my vote in that group.
I would really, I just want Laurel back because we've only had her on 6 seasons and she's such a good competitor, castmate. She's quite messy as well. I quite like watching her verbally eviscerate people because she's quite an articulate bellend, and I quite enjoy that. Articulate bellend.
Articulate bellend. Yeah, good band name. That's a really good band name.
It could also be the name for our Redditors React After Dark podcast.
Ooh, the Articulate Bellend.
Opening for the Twisted Testicles.
Yeah.
That's what I would call that's what I would call my band, if I had any form of musical talent. But we had overwhelming winner was Wes with like 3,600 votes. Wes got 1,400 of them. Bananas in second with 815. Laurel in third with 646, and then Cam kind of closer to 400, and then Rogan and Cara both knocking around below 100 marks. So yeah, I see their point of wanting Wes. Like, it would have been very entertaining if he was still pissed off from double agents and he went, right, I'm going to use all these rookies to take people out one by one. And that, it could have almost been his redemption for X's 2, where he played an amazing game and then got screwed. And I would have liked to see Wes, but I think the depressing thing is any vet on this season is going into the vet truce. So I don't know whether there's one vet who would have really gone against that, except maybe Jordan, because he just does what he wants.
The thing with, if Wes was on a season, don't you think it would have played out like similar to last season where they tried to get him out early? Like, it's the same people.
Yeah, and that's why it'd be interesting because Wes always bands the rookies together. So thinking if it's the same people and they go after Wes, he's got a massive group of people going like, look, none of these guys are going to take you to a final. I'll try. Let's get all the vets out. Also, I would actually love the season if it was just Wes and then no other vets by like week 10 because he's just dismantled them.
Yeah, I just wonder if these headstrong rookies, like, I wonder if like Kells and Corey Lay would have just told Wes to like fuck off a little bit, like just shut up, like leave us alone. Although I don't know, maybe not. Maybe you're right. Maybe they are right. I don't know. Laurel would have still been my vote.
Yeah.
But let's not waste any more of our listeners' precious time because we have a ton to talk about here today, George. The challenge once again graced our lives with 62 minutes of action and 28 minutes of commercials last night. Let's quickly recap. Last week, Corey stepped in the kitchen, couldn't handle the heat. All around him, the game crumbled apart as Emerald yet again was victorious over both Ruby and Sapphire. Corey's friends said, Red Rover, send Corey on over, and he was forced into an elimination with Logan. If this were 2016, the competition may have been about something different, but it's 2021 now, so it was about ropes on fire. Logan dispatched Corey, joined up with Satchfire, listen to me, and Amanda was exiled over to Ruby. So now that that's all said and done, why don't we head back to headquarters, find out where everyone's head's at now that the dust has settled. All right, so Logan lies and tells Nelson he left because Corey called him out, which, like I said, is a lie. Tori and Casey play wrestle in the kitchen. Luckily for everyone, Nani doesn't see it. And then Amanda, watching from afar, puts on her best daytime ESPN sports hot take artist costume and gives us her hottest take. Tori's overrated, George. What do you think about Amanda's flaming hot take here? Also, should challengers be forced to play overrated, underrated, properly rated in their confessionals all the time?
I'm guessing this is an American game that I have not been exposed to, but I think I could infer it. I think Tori was overrated through Total Madness because of how strong her War of the Worlds 2 thing was, but her weaknesses were covered by her team. I now think that after Total Madness and Double Agents, where she's been humbled, especially by the fans, she's probably now to two extremes. Some probably still love her and overrate her. Some probably underrate her massively. So she's kind of in the middle. In the cast, she's overrated. I think she's a strong asset to your team, but not someone who's going to completely change your game and take you from a contender to a favorite. How did I do?
I mean,
am I going to be on ESPN with that kind of analysis?
No, that was way too nuanced. What you got to say, you got to be way hotter than that. But I wonder if it's a situation where Tori's going to dine off of her win against Jenny in the Hall Brawl for the rest of her challenge career. I just wonder if that's going to be for forever. She's just going to, like I said, dine off that.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair though, that win is also completely discounted now because it was when Jenny had never ever had had ever been involved in physical contact before, and now she's been trained.
Really? Is that really true? She never in her whole life.
I mean, to be fair, mate, most of the sports girls play at school in the UK, except for hockey, are not really that physically competitive in terms of banging into each other. She then went and got a trainer, and you see it in Total Madness. She wrecks D. Sorry, she wrecks D, who must not be named. Sorry, Levi.
Well, because D's like 5'1". Like, of course she was going to wreck D. Here's the deal. I'm not buying that Jenny physical contact excuse. Sorry, not going to do it. Not buying it. She played soccer or football, right? People bang into each other. And
that was Tori.
Or no, I'm saying you said Jenny. It doesn't account for Tori because Jenny had never been in. Jenny's a monster. I'm not buying it. That was impressive, and
I reckon Jenny could now take me in a Hall Brawl quite easily.
I think Jenny could have taken you in a Hall Brawl then, George. Let's be honest. All right, so Kyle and Devin watch Nelson pace around the backyard, which honestly was like a scene they did specifically for us. I was like, this is my favorite thing ever. I was dying laughing at that. You get some gratuitous cast workout shots littering the screen. Casey and Nani got to sneak in there now that Corey's gone. I thought that was interesting. Some other people got to get shown working out. Corey was kind of suffocating that time for a while. And then Amanda makes Logan and Josh take a pop quiz, which to me, I would get crushed. I'd lose big time. I thought I would be like, this is bullshit. I'd panic. So I know I've asked you guys this question before, but George, I'm going to ask it pretty much until I get the answer I want. That's just kind of one of my tactics in life is I just keep asking the same question until someone gets annoyed that I just get my answer. So this is one of those times. Wouldn't you want to see more of this type of thing? Wouldn't you want this small sliver of a moment was my favorite part of the whole episode. Spoiler alert.
I don't love it as much as you, but I do really like it. I'm actually I'm quite glad Kyle and Devin were watching out for Nelson. I'm pretty shocked Nelson's been on 8 seasons now where there's always a pool and they don't have a lifeguard for him, just because I can just imagine him accidentally wandering into the pool like a poor wayward toddler, or at least have a fence for him.
He looks sad out there.
I know. Well, he misses Corey. His best buddy's gone. It's kind of like me now. Levi's not on the pod.
Yeah, no, that's what you do. You're just wandering in your backyard.
Yeah. Just pensively staring off into the distance, wondering how he's doing.
Drinking out of your challenge branded water bottle.
Oh God, I rewatched Total Madness last week, and there's a scene where just before the final, every male competitor does a beer out of their shoe.
Ugh.
These are fully grown men. I mean, I still do that, but I'm a child.
That's like some college. Yeah, that's like some college shit right there. I guess you take the boy out of the college, the same. But something about a bear shitting in the woods.
Oh, I can't. I'll tell you the ruder version of that in the break, because I accidentally used it in public once and it did not go down well. It's about the Pope.
I think you should not wait till the break, and I think you should do the ruder version right now.
No, we promised Levi. We promised Levi he wouldn't have to edit this.
All right, fair enough.
What do you? Okay, but so there was one serious bit in there.
Yeah.
Where do you rate Tori?
As far as what?
The overall challenger. Basically, like, do you agree with Amanda's take on her that she's overrated?
No, yeah. I mean,
yeah, those are your two options, Brian.
Well, okay, it's not that like I feel like she's like overrated in such an aggressive sense. I mean, like she's just she's unaccomplished relative to her status in like the ecosystem of the challenge, I guess. She's never really done anything.
Yeah.
Except for like that one elimination against Jenny, like that. She's, again, like I said, she's been dining out on ever since.
Yeah, she had a pretty good run on Dirty 30, and then Final Reckoning, she was with Derek Henry.
She was just friends with the right people on Dirty 30. I mean, she did well. Like, I'm not like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying she's bad or anything. Like, Dirty 30 was circumstantial, I feel like, more than an accomplishment. But whatever, it is what it is. The results were the results. I can't.
Yeah, but when she first started, obviously because of her mercenary elimination against Cam and Tori got compared throughout their like next 2 or 3 seasons. Cam is streets ahead better than Tori. I think Tori's probably accurately rated in this season because the cast is so weak on the girl side.
Yeah,
it's Casey, and then the drop off to the next competitor is huge.
I mean,
which is Tori.
Casey and her. Yeah, right, exactly.
But there is something I do want to talk about those two later. I don't want to jump ahead because I've never done that before in my life and I never will. But there's
at least not yet. You've never done it yet, at least.
Yeah. For the first 10 minutes we've been recording this week.
Speaking of this week, Big T pontificates with Logan about her place in the game until CT walks over and does his favorite thing in the entire world. Just tell Big T she sucks, which then Logan agrees with. I, for one, think that how comfortable everyone is squatting over Big T's head and taking a dump on her is kind of weird.
That is a horrible mental image.
Well, that's kind of what that scene was. CT just kind of walked over and took a dump on Big T. But then we get a scene where Amanda outwits Josh and gets him to go the TMI route and give Amanda his entire thought process on which door she should choose if she gets the chance to switch teams. My favorite part of that being him saying, I don't feel comfortable having this conversation after he's had the conversation. Do you think Amanda did that on purpose, or do you think Josh just kind of walked himself right into it?
I think probably. I think Amanda led him there. I think we know Amanda's smart, right, and she loves the drama. So we've probably not seen a lot of this, but I reckon she gets herself into conversations with people who she can't resist talking, aka Josh, just to give herself like bullets in the chamber for a argument coming up later. She probably never has to use them, but she's probably got a bit of dirt on like 4 or 5 different cast members that she can just whack out as a trump card whenever she wants. And I think that's what this was doing. She was giving Josh enough rope to hang himself, and he hung himself.
Yeah, well, it's like goes back to what we were talking about last week, where like Josh is in charge, right? Which again is fucking weird, but it's true. It's just true. And so knowing that, like the fact that he became so leaky about everything is just like,
Leaky Josh is a terrible name.
Well, Leaky Josh was out here just leaking everything. But let me ask you a real quick thing though. Like, say you're laying in bed and you're members of you're very members of the Emerald team, and you're laying your head in bed at night. Like, Tori knows that she's last on the totem pole for the girls. Like, she had to have known that already, right? And Amanda already probably knew that too, right? And so she just needed Josh to say it out loud, and he was more than willing to do it.
Okay, so she's definitely Emanuel's number 1.
But that means nothing.
No. I doubt she'd be Devin, because Devin probably just sees that Casey's a better competitor. And then by proxy, Nanny becomes Devin's number 2. Same for Josh. Casey actually is Josh number 1. So yeah, she's
ipso de facto.
And then obviously Nanny and Casey are each other's number 1 because they're.
What does that mean?
Oh, it's just basically a squeaky bed.
Why would the bed be squeaky?
Anyway. Because they're engaged in an amorous relationship, Brian. It's wonderful.
I just want you to say stuff. That's it. I'm just trying to get you to say stuff.
Stop
what happens.
Stop mandering me and giving me enough rope to hang myself.
Well, good for you. At least you're not Josh.
Wake up and thank myself every day about that. Although we did win $500,000. How much money would you have to pay me for me to be Josh? That's a round table discussion.
Speaking of $500,000, the alarm doesn't really sound, but the gang starts throwing on their monochromatic navy blue uniforms anyway and head down to another beautiful oceanside location in Croatia for their next mission. The gang's all there, psyched and ready to go, but where's TJ? Oh, that's right. He's a diva and needs to make everything about him. So he rides in on a challenge branded motorcycle. It's a special mission this week, as the marketing department for Paramount did everything they could to justify their salaries and tied the upcoming film Maverick, aka Top Gun 2, to this mission. So let's throw it down to TJ and the 5th, 6th, and 7th most famous person from the movie to explain the rules for this week. So before we go over the rules, I have one question for you, George. Is it strange to you that there are arguably 2 people standing there more famous than the famous people that they brought in?
TJ and CT?
Yes.
Yeah. I have a slightly different question for you. What is the fucking Venn diagram of people who watch the challenge and are not aware that there's a movie called Top Gun coming out?
Gotta be small.
Who paid for this promo? Because logically, when you promo something in someone else's house, it is the person doing the advertising. I can't see Top Gun paying the challenge, which gets 650,000 things a week, which good, fair. It's solid viewing numbers, but
yeah, right.
It's not going to make a dent in what their expected box office is. How did this happen?
Well, because I'll tell you why. Because as I've learned in the corporate world, that marketing departments only exist to justify the fact that they should have jobs, and so nobody. The answer is nobody. So because I'll tell you this, I don't know, for those of you that don't watch The Bachelor, The Bachelor also did a tie-in to Top Gun 2 Maverick, whatever it's called, last week. And the same unfamous white guy that was on the screen CGI'd in this week on the challenge was at the Bachelor thing last week. So I was like, I've been inundated. So yes, I'm well aware that the movie is existing. Here's the deal though, is I feel like they have to go on this marketing blitz because they have to remind people that it still hasn't come out yet. Yeah. Because the trailer came out like a million years ago. And so people have to be like, oh yeah, by the way, still hasn't come out. Don't forget, check out the trailer from January of 2020 before there was even a pandemic. Can you go check that out, please?
If there was no pandemic, this film would have been released on DVD, be on streaming services, have been forgotten about, and they would have announced another reboot by now.
Yes, exactly. They'd be casting Maverick 2 right now.
Yeah, I guarantee by season 40, there is a reboot of Top Gun coming out, which ignores this film entirely.
Yeah, no, right, exactly.
This is going the way of the Independence Day sequel.
Did you know Independence Day is my second favorite movie of all time?
Love Independence Day.
It is incredible. You know what the best part about Independence Day is? We're going to go
the president's speech.
No. Obviously, that's great. No, but the best part about Independence Day, so the Randy Quaid's character, like the crop duster who got abducted by aliens or whatever. So they're sitting there. Like the aliens have come, they've decimated the world, they've blown up, they've killed millions upon millions of people. And they're sitting there strategizing, all the pilots at Area 51. And the character's like, is someone who was up there, got abducted by them 50 years ago, here for revenge. People are rolling their eyes. They still don't believe this. They got abducted by aliens. after they've had all the proof in the world. Anyways, so essentially what we have here is challengers need to sit.
No, hold on. I've got to.
Speaking of Randy Quaid, here we go. Yeah.
From one alien that Randy Quaid dealt with to one alien trying to complete a Top Gun challenge in Emmy.
There you go. That would have been the Levi, the good Levi way to do it. But neither of us are him. Shout out to Levi. We miss you. We need you back so bad.
Speaking of Randy Quaid, let's get back to TJ and find out what's happening.
There you go. So we have here's the challenge. You need to sit in the cockpit like Randy Quaid for basically no reason until the water gets in there just close enough to not be in any danger at all. They have to grab the puzzle pieces from the cockpit, read a puzzle key underwater, then shout at each other until somebody back on land figures it out. I have a saying, George, that every once in a while the challenge tries to kill you. This was not one of those times. What did you think of the setup? What did you think of the setup for this one?
Do you know what the phrase shoehorning means?
Remind me.
It's basically when you force a topic into conversation which has no place being there. This challenge was absolutely shoehorned in just because someone in marketing went, hey, my brother's working on the set of a new Top Gun film. I bet we can get the 9th most important characters to come and do a promo.
That's it. That's it. Or not even come, but be on the television that we have to CGI and monitor.
I don't know. It was at least a bit different, right? Like I was very bored last daily elimination. This was less boring. I love the fact that they built their own sodding plane for it. Like the production.
I have some questions about the word custom. I feel like is doing a lot of work there. I'll be honest.
But like the production budget for this could probably have afforded you to get like a good vet and a half vet back on this season, right?
I'll just say that we are filming in war-torn Europe, and I just feel as though there are messed up planes just laying around for somebody to take. That's all I'll say about that. So speaking of somebody to take, let's get to the results here. Emerald goes first. Their plan pretty much goes to shit. They struggle to figure out what to call the symbols, which is a classic example of something that must have been much harder in person than it seems sitting on my couch drinking a crisp, citrusy New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc, because I was sitting there being like, why are they struggling with the symbols? But again, just explain that. They do fine, I think. I don't know. It's hard to tell.
Could we just, this is probably the point that everyone has made after this episode, but Josh not being able to find a puzzle piece and it being stuck to his own leg is the most Josh thing I've ever heard. Also,
yeah, I mean, you are who you are. You know what I mean? Like, he just cannot get it in his own way. You know?
I was also very annoyed that no cast member quoted the "You're my eyes, goose" by going "You're my eyes, goof" to Josh throughout this challenge.
Actually, yeah, can we stay on that for a second? I don't think that anyone there had, besides CT, had seen Top Gun. That's my hot take. That's my Amanda hot take.
That's potential. I imagine Devin's seen it.
No, and and Devin's the reason why I say it, actually, because
go on.
He says when they're standing there, he says, "Today I'm gonna be a Maverick." If you've seen Top Gun, you know that Maverick isn't a thing to be. It's
good point.
Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
And even later when he was in the club and he's screaming, "I'm a Maverick!" Like, it's again. I don't think he's seen Top Gun. I don't think any of them have.
Also, to be fair, if you were going to put characters from Top Gun into this challenge, Maverick would do terribly. One, because he's 5'2" and probably couldn't get up under the water.
That would be tough, yeah.
Yeah, Iceman's who you want in this challenge.
Val Kilmer? Of course you do.
Yeah, cool, calm, collected, really big cheeks, like he looks like he's hiding food in it at all times. Every time Val Kilmer's on my screen, all I can think of, what are you storing in your cheeks for a snack for later? Really ruined Batman for me.
We could talk. Jesus Christ. I mean, we could talk about
his utility belt becomes his utility cheeks.
Speaking of utility cheeks, Ruby takes the next go. Nani easily looked the hottest in their jumpsuit aviator combos the first round, but Nelson this time around looks so cool in that jumpsuit and those aviators. Super swaggy. I know you don't like that descriptor, but we could probably agree. Nelson looked super swaggy there.
To be fair, this theme did everyone favors in how cool they looked.
That's
Um,
true.
it's very hard to mess up jumpsuit, aviators, and big hair. And everyone on this cast has got really big hair, and it worked really well.
That's very true.
That was a weird take. You'd look good in this.
It was a weird take.
Uh,
Thank you so much, George. It's very well, thank you. And as far as results go, they at least had what seemed like a working strategy. Noted puzzle person Amanda takes the stage, and Nelson and Kyle are somehow dependent on to communicate. Which do you think was harder for her to understand, Kyle or Nelson?
That's definitely a draw. Ruby did not do well here, did they? I mean,
They
big
didn't
team
do
missed
awesome.
3 or 4 puzzle pieces. They thought they got. I mean, Amanda also messed up because she didn't realize she didn't have an all 25 until really late in the game. Kyle and we forgot something for Emerald. Josh not being able to read left to right really made me laugh. And then Kyle's confessional of Nelson, when you're at school, everyone is taught to read left to right, whereas Josh is going diagonal backwards. And
that's not surprising. What do you think the last book Josh read was?
I actually know
front to back.
I actually know the answer to this, and he still hasn't worked out how that caterpillar was so damn hungry. I'm so happy that joke translated across the Atlantic.
That was actually really, really clever. Shit. Well, let's move on. Remember when I said Nelson and Nani? Remember back then when I said that? When Nani and Nelson both looked super hot in their costumes? Remember when I mentioned that? Yeah, well, then they showed Logan and CT standing back to back like a Lethal Weapon poster. And
yeah, that's a good bit for everyone on that team.
Yeah, we're going to go ahead and move on from that one. Sapphire crushed it. They had a plan and it worked. I feel like there was some pretty creative editing happening here when they almost couldn't find the last piece. And I've watched enough reality to TV in my life to know when there's some creative editing happening here. And so that was bullshit. So now that we're back on the beach, let's kick it over to TJ for the results. Overall thoughts on this mission, George? On a scale of drone challenge from double agents to 10, what do you rank this?
So the closest one it is definitely that like fear of flying one in War of the Worlds 1, right? Where Car and Turbo get immunity just before the final, just because they're both in big planes. I actually wasn't bored this week, to be fair. I found it significantly better than last week.
Me too. They kept it moving.
Yeah, they kept it moving. There was one funny moment for each team. Josh getting a puzzle piece stuck to him.
Classic.
Josh definitely loses his keys when they're in his hands, doesn't he?
A little too much. You know what's so funny is I was leaving the house for work the other day. Funny you should mention that. And I walked around my house for 10 minutes looking for my keys. I couldn't find them anywhere. I thought I was losing my mind. They were just under my end table where I put my keys. I just missed when I got home the night before. So I felt a little bit like Josh there.
I sometimes find my keys in the fridge. So
don't worry. Wow, that's ridiculous. So let's keep it moving. Speaking of the fridge, back at the house.
Oh, no, hold on.
Keep going.
We still got discussed. Brian, how much was in that coffee?
Enough.
This episode of the Challenge Redditors React is sponsored by Speed.
Sponsored by Passion House Coffee Roasters in Logan Square.
Overall, decent challenge. I liked that we got a lot of good team dynamic stuff. But I've got a better question for you.
Oh man, here we go. Can't wait.
Which team looks hottest in Top Gun uniforms, and out of everyone who looks hottest in Top Gun uniforms, as our resident hot guy evaluator?
Well, it goes probably. Let me just do an honest evaluation myself here. Gender out of the equation. I'd say it probably went CT, Nani, Logan, Nelson is the top 4. Overall team, definitely Sapphire.
Yeah,
definitely. CT, Logan, Ashley, and Emmy, they look awesome in those uniforms.
Emmy with blue hair in braids and big glasses. I was like, actually, that is your look for your next music video.
Easy, yeah, easily.
My God, imagine if Emmy records a cover of Danger Zone.
I was about to start singing it, and I realized I'm not allowed to. Yeah, I guess on a scale of one, I don't know. I mean, I sound like a lame broken record here, but the daily challenges are always my least favorite part of any episode. So
yeah, you can tell when you're hosting because you really rush through it. It's like
I get nothing out of it, man. I really don't.
Let's get back to talking about Emmanuel spanking his meat again.
Exactly, like that.
Sitting on that pig.
Well,
we'll do one last question on it. Is this a daily challenge, which even in your like limited sense of enjoyment that you'd have back? Do you think it was a good one, or was this more filler?
Okay, I mean, this is weird to say probably, but the answer would be yes, I would like to have it back, but put them in actual danger, like it's actually submerged.
Sorry, do you mean put them in a danger zone?
Danger zone, yes. There you go. There it is. No, I know this is weird, but why not like like I said, I say it before, and sometimes the challenge tries to kill you. And like this could have been one of those times, and they actively chose it not to be. How much cooler would have been if they like possibly could have like actually died and drowned in the water?
I don't know, Brian. Your ego's writing checks your body can't cash at the moment.
I'm not signing up for the challenge. I'm just saying, if they were in actual danger, I would have been a lot more entertained.
You'd be fine on this because you're 7 inches taller than the next tallest cast member, so you could be sat in your seat. Everyone else is drowning. You're just like, guys, this is great. This chair is
I would have been fine knowing if I went second and third, knowing that I'd be completely fine. Like that's what I mean. I don't know. That would have been.
That is a good point though. Emmy didn't freak out on this one. Is she getting more level-headed?
She she saw the other team go first and realized that she didn't need to freak out because everything was going to be fine.
Yeah, true.
Can I ask another question? Actually, you just made me think of it. How did they determine the order? They haven't been saying it.
I think whenever we're not shown, it's random. I think.
There's no such thing as random.
Actually, wait, did Emerald go first last week as well?
I think so. Are they doing it in like reverse? Well, maybe like the winner goes first.
That's I actually quite like that because it's an attempt to at least equalize it.
I do too.
Yeah, okay. No, I'm on board with that. Let's so if did he jumped ahead again? We'll keep our eye on who goes first next week and see if that actually no we won't, because I know what the daily challenge is next week and it's going to be sick.
Yeah, it looks good. But speaking of getting ahead of ourselves, let's get back to the house. Big T and Casey have a conversation in the corner of a bedroom about how Big T is going to call out Amanda if she gets voted in. And then this is all speculation, but off camera somewhere, rumor has it Amanda was having the exact same conversation about her. So this elimination is pretty predetermined at this point, huh?
Yeah. There's actually another game I want to play, which is like throughout an episode, start like ranking who's going in base, because there's so many signposts now, isn't it? They get like 2 confessionals at the start, they get a bit of focus in the daily, they then get like it's really easy to predict who's going in at the moment.
Well, the thing also is it's easy to predict because it's been predictable the whole time, so we're kind of just almost going in order of like Big T is just next on the list. Like even if they didn't show her once from like the minute the episode started to now, I feel like both of us would still be under the impression that it was going to be Big T and Amanda. Like it's just next, right?
We'll chat about that. There's a scene after in Club Night where I want to chat about that a bit more. So keep going, Brian.
Speaking of, with nary an ounce of pomp nor circumstance, the gang heads out for, say it with me, 3, 2, 1. Club night. Nailed it. A PA went out and got as many costume flight attendant hats as they could find and handed them out as party favors on the way in. Some of the cast chose to participate, some didn't. Rudy and Sapphire
challenge spin-off you would definitely watch, The Life of a Challenge Intern. You've called that out twice now about like for the Bettina and Emmy elimination, where it's like, and they sent an intern off to a local IKEA or whatever the Croatian equivalent is to go buy as many plates as they could find and draw tiny little targets on them.
That's what they did, because that's what happens. I would love, you're so right. That would be the best show in the world, is just a show documenting the life. of a productive assistant on the channel.
You called it out in your last article, by the way, which you can read if you head on over to brianrbatty.medium.com.
Wow, thank you, George. That's really nice.
Nailed it.
You nailed it, yeah.
But where you call out that someone's got a pair of brand new pink flip-flops just sitting on their bed. I don't know how you catch that, because that is such eagle-eyed watching. But
I mean,
how did they appear in the house? What is going on?
Why haven't they taken the tag off? Like, well, I don't get it. We're so deep into this.
They've been there for 7 weeks.
Yeah, and it's just, if you're the type of person to purchase pink sandals, like, you're not the type of person to not wear those pink sandals. Like, I don't have pink sandals, and if I did, I wouldn't wear them because I wouldn't buy them. But if I were the type to buy them, I would be wearing them. It's like a specific. We're getting off subject. Ruby and Sapphire have team meetings on the side of the club. Ruby talks about how to fuck over Emerald, and Sapphire talks about how they can stay together to run to find them. Amanda and Ashley then see the Emerald girls surrounding Big T. That's like the Emerald team's move, is to just like hound the person that they're trying to get to do something, which is aggressive. Surround Big T to convince her to pick Amanda, which, again, duh. And then Amanda comes off the top rope like Jeff Hardy, smashes through a bunch of tables, and Nani, frustrated, peeks old Nani's head out from hibernation and tells Amanda to get bent.
Okay, first you're going to have to explain the Jeff Hardy reference, because much like an F-15, that went over my head. Reference.
So he's like a wrestler. You know about wrestling? Are you aware of like pro wrestling? So he used to like jump off the top rope and like jump into people, like basically put himself into like bodily harm just for wrestling purposes. Other people will get it, I swear to God. But I do have a question for you, George. Okay. How is it that Amanda possesses the unique ability to say the correct things in all of the most incorrect ways?
Okay, you mean incorrect for her game, though, right? Because for the challenge, it's the best way to say them.
Well, of course, no. But I mean, Amanda like in that social setting.
Oh yeah, she's probably just bored. Like, yes. Have you ever just been really bored at a party and know you can't leave, so you just make up a lie and see how fast it gets around the room?
I don't know if you want to realize this, but I get bored all the time and just make up stories for everybody. So that's not surprising. Yes, I do that all the time. I've done that like 3 times in this podcast. What are you talking about?
I knew you'd never seen a rugby ball. But I do see your point. Like, but that's part of her charm. Yeah, charm's not the right word for it.
She's never wrong. Like, she doesn't like say lies. Like, she doesn't say full truths. She says untruths sometimes, but she doesn't ever like just say outlandish lies. But it's like she could like piss somebody off by like answering like what time it is. Like, somebody could be like, "What time is it, man?" And she could say 5:35, and somehow she'd say 5:35 in a way that's like, well, just ow, like, what's wrong? You know what I mean? Like, she just possesses that ability.
You messed up how Amanda would say that. It'd be, "Hey, fuckhead, it's 5:35. Nailed it. Got it into the episode."
Right, exactly. Like, she couldn't just answer. She just can't ever like be delicate about anything. But I did like seeing old Nani again. That was fun. That was really nice.
Also, we got a flash of personality from Casey. That can stay. Like,
yeah, nah, well, that would mean she has to stay. So I'm off, Casey. I am. I'm done.
I did like getting old Nanny back. I was like, oh, this is what this season's been missing. She's just so volatile.
She almost got there. She was so close.
Nanny would be a good. Close. Yeah, I know. If she just launched noodles at Amanda, the season would have jumped up a couple of tiers for me.
Damn relationship, man. She's damn relationship. It kills her.
But this is where I wanted to talk about, right? Because Amanda then uses this conversation to start like insinuating she's going to call Casey out. Uh-huh. I don't. Is that one of the things you're referring to about saying the correct things in the wrong way?
No, just her approach and speaking was more what I was referring to.
Because I do think Amanda would have called Casey out if it was a puzzle. I don't think that was bullshit.
I don't think she was calling anybody but Big T out.
Oh, actually, because if she calls out Casey, she then goes to Emerald. she can't go to Emerald because that team is distinctly unpopular. She's very, very unpopular there because Nanny will hate her more than she actually does anyway after the "hey fuckhead" comment. Let's pretend she called Nanny a fuckhead.
Sure.
Yeah, you're right.
Basically.
This was all going to be Big T. But I did enjoy.
Yeah.
I did enjoy Casey saying, "I hope you call me out." It's the only time Casey shows personality. It also happened last season in Double Agent, where someone was like, when Teresa was going in, and someone said to Casey like, "Oh, you're probably going in as well," and she was like, "Okay, cool." I like that level of confidence and athletic ability. I just wish she had another side to her personality.
Yeah, I mean, like, she should have confidence because she's been amazing at the challenge pretty much since the moment she showed up. So, like, of course, why shouldn't she have confidence? But that also doesn't mean that I care.
Why is there not like Jenny West and Laurel on this season? Oh, it'd be awesome. Anyway.
Yeah, or just like, why can't Casey have personality beyond?
That would also be better.
Dressing well. I don't know. Speaking of dressing well, the gang heads down to deliberation, and Ashley isn't there. Right.
Moving on.
Moving on. CT opens the floor for deliberation. Kyle proclaims Emerald to be the losers. Then Big T opens things up for real. This one's another pretty telegraphed decision here. It's either Big T or Amanda for the vote, and the other one is going to call the other. But there's one huge difference between them being the house vote. Technically, if Big T wins, she's not going to touch Emerald. So there's a chance for her not to win, aka not being in there. CT is going to take it because CT hates Big T as much as I hate Aaron Rodgers. And I hate him, and I love saying that I hate him. Devin and Amanda get into an argument, mostly because Devin feels threatened and also probably just annoyed being Amanda's roommate. So he starts trying to verbally push the teacups because he perceives her foundation to be wobbly, but Amanda's got other ideas. Knowing she knows who Josh is willing to sacrifice, Amanda plays the Tori card. George, are you surprised Amanda outwitted Josh? And this is a facetious question, so feel free to answer in any way you'd like.
I'll actually give a bit of credit to Josh here. He's very self-aware in his confessional around this time, because he goes, "Why can't I keep my big mouth shut? I've screwed myself over again. I shouldn't have said that." I was just
yeah.
And I was just like, okay. Josh showing a bit of a self-awareness here was actually very impressive, because that's what Devin and a lot of people have actually called him out in his future challenge career, is that Josh has no self-awareness. I enjoyed him saying, "I messed up here." So Josh, good work there. You did mess up, but at least you realized, and that's growth. Much like that very hungry caterpillar grew in that last book you read. I'm going to beat this joke over the head in honor of Levi.
In honor of Levi. Yes, yeah.
What did you think of this deliberation as a whole?
I was into it. I mean, I love when like old shit bubbles to the surface, like when with these people who've been doing it for a while, you know. Like I loved the Corey thing last week. Like I love when like Ashley and whatever gets into it. Just because like Devin and Amanda have such a long, I mean, they started together, you know. I mean, they were both on the same Are You the One season, and now here they are. I just think it's funny. Like I thought it was weird. Devin got so like, I don't know, defensive. Like, I mean, like he's usually so much more stoic and comfortable in those situations, but it was weird that, I don't know, I think he like kind of showed his ass.
There's a good point here though. In Devin's preview, like before this season starts, he said he's very dangerous at the start, and then by the time he crosses the 500 beer mark, he just gets bored. I reckon Devin's pretty close to the 500 beer mark now, actually.
Gotta be pretty close.
But yeah, I think, maybe that's when we ask him to come back on the podcast. Devin, call us when you've had your 500th beer of the season. Like, that was episode 2, mate. I've been blitzed since 1998.
Yeah, he's 1990, a good year.
It's actually a very good year. I was 7, having a wonderful time. That's when I found out.
This goes back to this. Sorry, it's okay. We'll talk about this. We'll talk about 1998 on a different podcast. Let's stick to the challenge here. But this kind of goes back to what we were talking about earlier, right? Where it's like Amanda like dropped the Tori card, but like if you're Tori, didn't you already know that, right? Like, I guess hearing it out loud is one thing, than other than knowing it deep down. But I mean, like I'm surprised she even like cared.
I imagine she thought she was in a better position, at least with Devin, Well, actually, no, maybe not. I actually don't know. Tori's probably not the greatest strategic thinker. I don't know if she's ever sat down and made a list and gone, where do I? Because we know that works out well for you on the challenge, doesn't it?
You can't write it down. Don't write anything down ever, unless you're Laurel.
Or unless you're going to eat it.
Right.
But yeah, she probably had an inkling, but I think being confronted with the fact that a member of your team is actively saying, take this person, it probably just didn't come across. It probably like hurt her a little bit and realized she's not as in strong position in the game as she thought she was. But
yeah, it's probably one of those things where it's like in the house, it's a lot different than watching on TV.
Right. I actually did want to show us for the club night one about Emerald just constantly saying we want to run the final together. They must know that's impossible, right?
Well, this kind of I mean, that's just kind of the thing I'm asking. The same thing I'm asking about Tori. Like, are they in that much of like a bubble where they think they're just not going to be touched? They must be. Or it must be just something they have to say. Like, you just kind of have to say it out loud. Like, once one person says it, the other person has to say it. And you know, I don't know. Good question.
But no one is safe from getting swapped out. So you are screwed. You see a team with like 2 teams of 3 and a team of 6. You're going, well, I want to go on a team with more people. That seems like it's been working out really well in the past.
How long real time have they been a team? Like 2 weeks? Question.
Yeah, they've probably been on what? Like,
so like
they've done 5
days.
They've done 5 dailies as teams now, haven't they?
I think that was the 4th.
At the 4th? Jesus Christ, this season is dragging. Drag on though. Keep this series, keep the show on the screen.
Yeah, I don't mind.
But yeah, so 2 weeks. But I reckon there must be someone must be able to work this out who's smarter than me. What do you reckon like challenge time versus normal time is? like
I reckon, ratio? Oh man.
Yeah. I mean, so I reckon like a day in normal life is probably like 4 days in the challenge house.
Yeah, I mean, time's a flat circle everywhere but the challenge house. Like I say it all the time. Sapphire quickly pulls the trigger and votes to compromise Amanda for all the reasons we discussed. George, is that the right choice? Just say yes so we can keep it moving. Because what else? What's the other choice?
Yeah, it's probably the right choice.
I actually do have another choice, but it would never ever happen. Just voting Casey.
Oh, what? And just let her demolish someone and then come back and stay in Emerald. That's a really good shout.
What do they have to lose? I mean, maybe she'll lose, and then the other team, the team that CT and because in their mind, I mean, I think at least with Ashley not being around, I imagine that they're like, okay, this is the team now, the 3 of us, right? You'd think. So maybe they're just like, I don't know. And again, it would never have happened. It never, ever would have happened.
I think
CT, fuck it, why not?
I think CT mentions as well that he's not, because no one took a shot at him when they could as well. I think there's still, the vet alliance is still there, but it's moving bullshit. Up. It's moving up to the better vets who are in the same thing, and he's just saying, no, I won't take a shot at Casey. But I think the thing is,
because it wouldn't make sense to do it now. That's why.
I think Casey and CT now both know. Well, they're both like, look, if we go in, we're coming back. And also, they probably both believe they've got what they need to win a final. So they're not going to take shots at each other because they both think they can beat who's in front of them. Like, because what you've effectively got is CT and his supporting cast, or Maverick and who's the guy who joins him at the end after Goose dies? Spoiler alert, the film came out in 1984. If you haven't seen it,
I don't remember the name. Yeah, the movie's like almost like 40 years old. I think you're good on the spoilers.
Did they play Danger Zone in this episode?
They played the other Top Gun music.
Yeah, that's what they did. Anyway, sorry, that's what I probably couldn't afford Danger Zone, but I'm very disappointed with them. Get a smaller F-15 and then play Danger Zone, because that would be brilliant.
Do you think that last week the production assistant handed TJ the wrong lines and he was supposed to call the elimination being in the danger zone this week? And because he did last week, he called it the danger zone. Do you think he meant to do it this week?
I'd love that. Basically, like the scene in Anchorman where they messed up his teleprompter. Go fuck yourself, San Diego.
Yeah, exactly. But like, oh damn it! Again, that was supposed to be this week. Shoot, I forgot when the Top Gun thing was happening.
And in the next episode of the Challenge Intern, the intern gets fired for messing up the episode order.
Speaking of messing up the episode, back upstairs, Amanda plays all the classic challenge cards. She talks about real friends. She cries. She says, "I don't care what you think." She just really runs the gamut of cliches. But easily the most interesting part of this scene was the garbage bags of laundry she had to rifle through to find hers. Not only that, but Nelson and Josh both seemed wholly uninterested in grabbing their own. I'll be honest, not having control over my own laundry situation would be a tough pill to swallow living in this house. You don't care about the laundry, huh? Okay, Tori hits up Josh on Instant Messenger and it's like, WTF, bro? Josh is like, nah, bro, it's not how it went down. I don't care about you. I love you. Tori's like, all right, bet. I couldn't be less interested in this interaction if I tried. I really could.
I don't think there's anything to unpack here. This is one of those conversations when no one says what they really mean. So let's move on to the next bit. Okay, I was trying to think of another Top Gun episode.
Speaking of the next bit, again, no alarm, but the gang finds their freshly laundered monochromatic navy blue uniforms, hops on the bus, and heads over to the lair. So let's meet them down there and find out from TJ which matchup will be treated to tonight. Just when you thought this was going to be predictable, Amanda pulls a fast one on everyone and shocks all viewers at home and chooses Big T. George, right decision? Only decision?
You know what they say, you can't make a Tomlets without breaking some Gregs.
29 times.
I waited 3 seconds to get that quoted. For anyone who doesn't know what we're talking about, go and needs a new TV show, go watch Succession. It's arguably the best TV show, apart from The Challenge, on the planet.
Now, speaking of Little Lord Fuckleroy, let's kick it back to TJ and find out the rules for tonight's battle. All right, so what we have here is a nifty log pull type of logic lock puzzle. I'll be honest, George, I had a really hard time describing this one, but I do know that I liked it a lot. And then it says right here on the list, discussion of elimination. So let's discuss.
just wonderful hosting.
Yeah, nailed it. Yeah.
Okay, we'll talk about the design of it first. I quite like this because
yeah, me too.
I think there was a lot of this was basically a carnival game with a strength element, right?
Yeah, I didn't really know how to describe it in like a sentence. Like I said, it's like all I could really come up with nifty log pull type of logic lock puzzle. Like I don't even know what you would.
I would describe this as the unholy combination of snakes and ladders and fitting blocks into the right shapes on a child's toy. God, that's hard to describe.
I always just struggled with that one. Yeah.
Well, thank God most people who listen to this, and I really hope all people who listen to this have watched the show, because otherwise, what are you doing?
Watch the challenge. I would hope they watch the challenge if they're this far into the podcast. That'd be really weird. I'm not that entertaining.
My brother listens to the podcast without watching the show.
Your brother's a brave man. I do have a question for you. I meant to ask this earlier, and then I realized this would be the right time. So remember you were saying when we were talking about the deliberation, and you were saying Casey has like supreme confidence that no matter what, she'll win. And I agree with you there in her mind. But like, let's just talk about it. Like, what if it was Amanda versus Amanda versus Casey here? Like, couldn't Amanda have won this? Couldn't Amanda have beaten Casey in this?
That's what I was going to say, is I think there's the potential for anyone to lose this, because all you have to be is a little bit heavy-handed a couple of times, and then you've obviously got to turn your block the entire way around again to get it through, which one will tire you out, and two will give you a massive delay in getting through it. And Amanda nailed her strategy from the start. Right? Yeah, it was like it's literally like constantly moving but constantly checking for the right thing. That's the only way to do this.
Yeah, so you don't miss it.
Yeah, exactly. But I just think, yeah, Amanda, anyone could have beaten anyone in this. You just need one person to get, even if it's the worst competitor versus the best competitor, if you get everything right first go, and they miss it once, you've won.
Yeah, which is why I don't understand why they don't just like take shots more often, because like the eliminations are never like they used to be, where it's just like physical and that's it. It's not like that anymore. It just isn't.
We're overdue a physical one though. I don't think it'll be next week. I think the week after you're getting a couple of physical eliminations. Oh, actually, we've had pole wrestle recently, haven't we?
Yeah, but like they should do like a fucking like a sword fight or something with like actual swords.
They've had a blind stick fighting where Wes came up with the coolest strategy ever, just going from the slow-mo. No.
Yeah, but the problem was that no one was actually in danger on that one. But yeah, I don't know. I got nothing really else.
Right.
If
we ever go paintballing, are you going to insist on live ammo?
On actual bullets? No, insist no, but if they handed them to me, I wouldn't say no. Amanda dispatches Big T fairly easily with this one. I mean, do you have anything else to add? I don't. I think the interesting stuff happens after this.
Yeah. Amanda did really well. Big T did about as well as I expect her to here. I think she's almost reached her ceiling at the moment, and it's sad because she does seem incredibly lovely, and I bet she's a great person to have in the house. But
well, yeah, let's do this. Let's have an honest Big T discussion here.
Oh my god, that was the next bit in the running order. Nice.
Yeah, that was the next bit. You nailed it right into it. So let's just do it. Let's have an honest discussion. So like, I love Big T, right? You love Big T, right? Neither of us have anything bad to say about Big T. So, but what is she going to be on this show moving forward? Like, what lane is she going to occupy? Because she's not like that, like, not necessarily that I even want her, care that she's around, but she's not that like Jenny style of like super articulate mastermindy type, right? She's not fully there. She kind of is there.
I think
she's not like the Jasmine lovable loser, like never gonna win, but like you just want her to scrappy underdog. She's not quite there. She's kind of there. So like, and she's never gonna, I mean, outside of a team challenge where she's on it, she's probably not gonna win. So like, what are we casting her for? What is she there for?
Let's flip this around and get you to work it out yourself. What's your favorite Big T moment? So I got a few that stand out. She's contributed.
Big T moment, like ever?
Yeah, go for any season.
One of them is when she said, "I hate burpees," when Jenny was having them work out, and she's like, "I hate burpees." I just thought that was when I realized, like, okay, I'm pro Big T.
No, if someone says they enjoy burpees, they are a stone cold sociopath.
Right, exactly.
Like,
Jenny. When she, in Double Agents, when she said, "Don't give me a Coach Carter ass speech," when she was talking about when CT bummed her out, that's probably the next one. And I mean, that I don't know. I can't think of anything else. I'm like reaching, I'm stretching.
So I liked it when she masterminded Tori and Anissa going against each other. I enjoyed that.
That's a strong word. That's a strong
word. She put that entire thing into motion, which I thought was very, very well played. I liked it when she's had the nice moments of her like being built up with CT, and then her doing quite well in the couple of days were nice, but don't stand out to me. She was a very good narrator throughout Double Agents, with a couple of good political episodes thrown in as well. I think that's like her best role. She now can't seem to really get away with doing that, so she needs to reinvent herself as a challenger. I think she needs to go away and do nothing but run 10K, because she's quite strong. Like physically, she's not weak. Actually, how did Amanda smash her so much in this elimination?
It's a better strategy.
Yeah, probably that, to be fair.
Like, I'm tired.
Oh, the infantilized. What is that word?
Infantilized.
Thank you, Brian. That's why you're my temporary host. Yeah, the infantilizing can go. That really gets on my nerves. But yeah, the only thing I say is she needs to go off and like get her endurance up so she can complete a final. That's the perfect way to finish the Big T story. Take her from a non-factor in her first season to a lovable housemate in Total Madness to someone who started winning a couple of things in Double Agents, had all her weaknesses exposed in Spies, Lies and Allies, come back on not 38, come back on 39 as a true threat and make it to a final. That would be a very, very good storyline. And I like the multi-season storylines, but she needs to go away and run 10K a day for a year.
I think that I'll just say it. I don't really want people on the challenge who are going to like hook up with the new hot guy and then be just nuanced and cordial when it's all over. Like, you know what I mean? Like, can I just get a little spiciness? Like, can I get her to be like if Logan like looks at Nani in the kitchen wrong, can I just get like one like Big T meltdown of like her getting irrational? Or like even a Logan the other opposite, like Big T gives Nelson a look while he's working out, and then even he, like, I don't know, like that hookup gave me nothing. Yeah. I don't care that like two hot people are like hooking up. That does that. I mean, who gives a shit?
Someone farts on someone's pillow and give them pink eye.
Exactly. Speaking of pink eye, I see Big T leaving. There'll be no chicanery at all. So let's say our goodbye to Big T. George, wave with me. Bye, Big T.
Bye, Big T. Lovely to have
you. Bye,
Big
T. Wait a minute. What's that I hear? Is that Big T's music? Yay. Right? I think I'm into it.
I enjoyed the comic sense of timing of TJ, like literally as she is out of shot. Oi, Big T. It's like, yeah, what?
What? Do I have to refilm something? Did they not take the lens off the camera? Do you think that's what she was thinking, that they had to refilm it? What do you think she was thinking?
Yeah, damn it. They've forgotten to put, the challenge intern has forgotten to put film in the camera again. And I have to redo this damn elimination and then go.
Hold on, when they went to Target, get pink sandals and film for the camera. Gosh, darn it. So Big T goes right back to the Ruby cell to help them to do some more losing. George, what do you think about this? Is this just delaying the inevitable, or what do we think about Big T being let back?
I mean, she's going in again straight away next Girls' Day, right?
Yeah, right. Yes.
It was slight. I had a bit of a chuckle when TJ called her back and she looked really confused, because I thought that was actually a bit of a genuine moment on the challenge where everyone was caught by surprise. I really like the fact they at least made them do the elimination, because there's a bit on like, I think it's Rivals 2, where everyone's getting ready to get attached to that, like,
the electrical one, and then two just like, never mind, no elimination. They're like, yeah, that was so lame. That was so
because they've done an electrocution challenge before, like back on one of the Infernos, and it's hilarious.
Yeah, but that's one of the ones where like that could have actually killed them. Like that could have killed them. Like, Cara at that time was so headstrong and wanted to be like a challenge person that she would have let that electricity kill her. Like, why can't we do that? Anyways, we're not done yet. Amanda has a huge decision to make, so let's find out what happens when Amanda stops being polite and starts getting real. Amanda does the obvious thing here and infiltrates Emerald, switching out a super duper psych Tori. Did Amanda make the right decision? George?
Let's give a bit of appreciation to Tori here. She comes down. She's obviously annoyed, but she says, "Good job, Amanda." I enjoyed that. Just nice gamemanship. I would have enjoyed a, "Hey, fuckhead, why are you taking my team spot?"
Yeah, she was pretty. She knew it was coming. You could tell she was pissed, but you could tell she's like, you know what? I'm not gonna make a thing. I'm just gonna accept it and eat it. And that's good. I guess.
And next time there's a physical daily, like maybe next week, which I'm very excited for. Someone's getting trucked.
Choo choo.
What's the Tori? CT is the only one who can do a choo choo. What's the Tori version?
No, choo choo.
We'll come back to that.
I'm not going to tell that at all.
Okay, did Amanda make the right decision? So here was my thought as well. If Big T hadn't returned and gone back to Ruby, I can make a case for it being a very good decision to stay on Ruby. There's only three of you.
Yeah, they hate you.
Sorry?
They hate you.
Yeah, but Kyle and Nelson need Amanda.
Mm.
That team is all right for a final, actually, because if there's no weight carrying, Kyle and Nelson are workhorses. Amanda's light enough you can carry her, and she'll do all your puzzles.
Mm. So I mean, but Big T's back, so let's
okay. Also, she said she was going to do this. I'm glad she did. Someone had to break up Emerald, so I'm glad she did that as well. I don't think going to Sapphire would have worked because she would have switched out Emmy, and then Emmy would have just gone straight back into elimination. Oh, that would have been funny. Emmy's reaction would have been hilarious.
Oh, she would have been not.
Oh my god! As a blindside, take out. Yeah, that's what I would have done. Just like that would have just been really annoying. Yeah, I don't think she really had a choice. She said she was going to do it. Do you think she's going to throw missions on Emerald?
No, I think she's going to want to win. I mean, like Amanda isn't going to do anything that isn't real. Like she's going to try to win now. Like she's on the best team. Like she's like, all right, let's win. I'm going to stay here as long as I can. You know? Yeah, true. I don't think she was throwing anything before. Again, I don't think she was actually like they made it seem one way. I don't think she was actively.
She claims she did.
Okay, great. No. It's easy to claim things like months after it's done, you know?
Yeah, I knew there was going to be a pandemic.
Listen, I don't.
That's
when
why
challengers say like
toilet roll.
Exactly, like when challengers say things like, "What they didn't show you is that I was actually you know what I mean? Like I never believe it because it's like you can say whatever the fuck you want. You can say anything happened. Oh, they didn't show this, but I did 107 push-ups. Like, you know, like you could say anything. I don't ever believe that. Maybe that's not just my bullshit meter is always on high, but great. I'm glad she said that. I don't believe her though.
Do you think she made the right decision?
Yeah, I do. Absolutely. I mean, they're getting down to the nitty gritty. They got to know it's over soon. I mean, like when they like flashed to the stage, I was like looking, I was like, that is sparsely populated. There is not a lot of people left. So they got to know it's coming down to it, the nitty gritty. So I'm sure she made the great decision. She's on the best team.
Yeah. Do you reckon, are you happy they brought Big T back?
I'm indifferent. She's going to go into the next one and lose next time she can, right? Right. Yeah. I mean, right. I'm not like saying anything out of school here.
Because actually, as well, if Emerald win the next mission, she can only call out Emmy.
Right. And Emmy will probably beat her.
They've got to start remixing up the team soon.
You think they're going to do that?
I don't know, but you can't have a team of 6 versus two teams of 2. It's ridiculous. I mean, you can, but
it's the challenge.
Yeah, no one cares. Yeah, you're right.
I mean, we can care. I'm not saying no one cares, but like, there's no rule book. Like, why can't they? They can do whatever they want. I mean, they can do anything. They can show tomorrow and be like, CT's, it's one versus everybody else in the final. You know, they could do that. They're not going to, but they could. There's no way. There's no one saying no.
CT would absolutely win that.
Probably.
Even if it was one which favored more people, the like infighting on the other team would be so bad.
Oh man, that would be awful.
CT could just stroll across the finish line, twirling a cane and smoking a cigar.
Speaking of smoking a cigar, let's get to the end of this thing. What did we think of this episode overall? Give it a letter grade, like you're a teacher.
B minus.
Okay.
Yeah. Same for you.
B's for degrees.
It's kind of now a completely. This episode is basically a non-factor because no one went home.
Yeah. Actually, you know what? I didn't really think about it like that, but yeah, they could have just not shown this episode at all.
This means nothing. I would have
actually technically somebody did go home.
Oh
yeah, we don't want to.
Good point. Yeah, fair enough.
We're not going to go into that. Really part of it.
Alan Aguirre made quite a good point, which was he would have rather they let Big T go home and then they had a double male elimination next week. Because actually the only way you get CT into an elimination is to make it a double.
Why is that the only way? They could have put CT into this elimination 100 different times by now.
Well, because it'd be hilarious, right? If you had, say, Ruby win, unlikely, but see, or Emerald, or Sapphire win, you vote in 2, CT's probably having to go down or get called out because there's only 3 people who aren't men on Emerald.
All time. It's about when did this started in like summertime?
Oh my God.
Like almost Christmas.
You've been saying it was August 14th, I think, was the first episode of this season. We're bordering on 3 months of you going, I bet CT's in the next elimination.
Just like, I don't get it. Whatever. Any winners or losers you want to shout out this episode? Anything you could think of? Who's the biggest winner? Who's the biggest loser?
I actually can't think of any over. Oh, actually, sorry, quick one. Did you think Ruby got better with Tori?
Yes, I think Ruby got a lot better.
Even though no one on that team can do that, team trying to do a puzzle, it's going to take 1.5 years.
A long time. But I think they got better because I think that just Tori's her mindset more lines up with Nelson's mindset of like, I just want to play sports with my friends. Like, I just want to play. Like, I'm not worried about what it means if we win or lose. Like, I just want to play. Like, I think Tori's in a similar mindset to that. We're like, when it comes game, when the whistle blows, like they just like to play. Like they just like to do the activity.
Do you think if Nelson was playing Frisbee, he tried to catch it in his mouth?
Yes, 100%.
Okay, fair enough. Winners and losers. Amanda hasn't changed. She's still probably like disliked in the game. Devon and Josh have lost a bit because their power, like stranglehold's probably been undermined a little bit.
A little bit.
And yeah, apart from that, like Sapphire's a bit of a loser actually, because they had a very, very strong 4-person team and now they've lost a member who did add value to them. Although CT covers what Ashley would do anyway. So yeah,
it's still better having her around in a final situation.
Yeah, agreed. Okay, so let's say Sapphire lost. No one really won. Maybe Kyle and Nelson, because we know
Amanda. Big winner, Amanda. She got off the Ruby team. She won an elimination. She's on the Emerald team now. She's great. Amanda's a big winner here.
Yeah, because if they throw next week, although does Tori ask to go down to swap back to Emerald? That was her big plan that you hated 2 weeks ago. It was like making your blood boil as you were describing it.
It's not the plan. It's the fact that she was trying to use this 25-step plan to reassure the guys that everything is fine. That's more what was upsetting me. I was like, all right, guys, like, Tori. But I mean, yeah, that's probably what she's thinking is I'm going to try to get back down there. And that's smart because, like, out of all the girls left, she could beat all of them. So it's like, yeah, I'm sure that's exactly what she's thinking. Or maybe, I don't know, maybe she's like, let's roll. Let's ride it out. Like me, Nelson, Kyle, like, let's see what happens.
Good point. Okay, cool. So a lot of losers.
A lot of losers. Speaking of losers, thank you, George, for doing this with me. I appreciate having me along, letting me spout my nonsense over Zoom to you. Levi, please come back soon. You're just so much better at this than I am. And George, I'm going to allow you now to go ahead and plug your social media for everybody because it's against my belief system to do so myself.
And we never make you want to cross your beliefs, even though you just call me a loser. Why is the one segue you've done that's good been insulting me?
You know, it was right there. It was handed to me like an appetizer at a cocktail party, you know.
Ooh, nice.
Shrimp scampi.
If you want to come talk to us over on the Reddit, I am read this 28. If you want to go read some of Brian's fantastic articles, he is at brianrbatty.medium.com. If you want to talk to me and Levi off the pod, come follow our Instagram, which is at Challenge React, I think, probably, maybe. And if you are on Twitter, I highly recommend getting off Twitter because Twitter is a shithole.
Okay, well, great hot takes. I hope everyone enjoyed this episode of the podcast. We will see you next week. And as always, I'm going to leave you with the trailer for the next episode, Spies, Lies, and Allies.